The Asia-Pacific region is witnessing a significant shift in military alliances and power dynamics. China, a dominant force in the region, is reportedly shocked by the increasing air power cooperation among Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and Australia, all under the coordination of the United States. This development has disrupted Beijing's strategic calculations and raised pressing questions. Are we on the verge of a new military order in the region? Is China's dominance being challenged like never before? And what does this mean for global stability? In this video, we will analyze these recent developments, explore the factors leading to this power shift, and discuss their broader implications for China, the United States, and the world. Since the end of World War II, the Pacific region has been a critical battleground for influence between the United States and China. The U.S., with its formidable naval and air power, has long maintained dominance, positioning itself as the protector of regional allies. China, leveraging its rapid economic growth over the past few decades, has aggressively expanded its military reach, particularly in the South China Sea. This has led to persistent friction between the two superpowers. However, while individual conflicts and disputes have been common, the recent formation of a coordinated air power alliance has caught China off guard. For years, Beijing sought to balance its relations with individual countries, using economic incentives and diplomatic pressure to keep them within its sphere of influence. It did not anticipate that these nations, Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and Australia, would unite in military cooperation under the leadership of the U.S. This shift marks a fundamental change in regional security dynamics. Naval dominance has historically been a key factor in military influence, but air power offers rapid deployment, surveillance, and immediate defensive action. With this new coalition, China must now contend with an increasing number of coordinated air patrols and exercises that challenge its movements. Japan has been a longtime adversary of China's territorial claims, particularly in the East China Sea. The Japanese Air Self-Defense Force, JASDF, regularly scrambles its jets to intercept Chinese aircraft violating its airspace. However, these confrontations were largely bilateral. Now, Japan is reinforcing its position by conducting joint exercises with American, Australian, and South Korean pilots. This unified front sends a strong message to China. The airspace is not solely under your control. Traditionally, South Korea has focused its military development on countering threats from North Korea. However, in recent years, Seoul has increased its defense investments, acquiring advanced fighter jets, and engaging in joint drills with the U.S. and other allies. By participating in multinational Air Force training, South Korea is signaling to China that it is prepared to act in unison with its allies if Beijing oversteps its bounds. The Philippines has had a complex relationship with China, often balancing economic partnerships with concerns over territorial disputes in the South China Sea. However, China's aggressive expansion, including the construction of artificial islands and its militarization of disputed territories, has alienated Manila. The Philippine government has since renewed its military agreements with the U.S., allowing for increased American presence in its air and naval bases. This marks a crucial shift, as China once viewed the Philippines as a country it could pressure economically. Instead, Manila has now taken a firm stance against Beijing's encroachments. Although geographically distant, Australia plays a strategic role in the Pacific security network. Beijing initially sought to draw Australia into its economic orbit through trade and investment. However, rising concerns over Chinese influence in the South Pacific and cyber espionage threats have led Australia to deepen its military ties with the U.S. and its allies. Now, Australian pilots are actively participating in air drills alongside American, Japanese, and South Korean forces, reinforcing the security coalition that China views as a direct challenge. Beijing is not standing idly by. In response to this growing coalition, China has been ramping up its own military activities. Some of the key developments include increased air patrols and surveillance. China has expanded its own air patrols and military exercises, deploying advanced fighter jets and bombers in contested areas. Upgraded missile capabilities. Beijing has been investing heavily in air defense and missile technology, aiming to counterbalance the increasing presence of U.S. allied forces in the region. Diplomatic pushback. Chinese officials have accused the U.S. of provoking conflict and attempting to contain China's rise. This rhetoric has been echoed in state media, portraying the U.S.-led coalition as an aggressive force destabilizing the region. The formation of this air power alliance signifies more than just military exercises. It reflects a fundamental shift in regional strategy. The key takeaways from this development are: China can no longer isolate regional players. Beijing has historically used economic incentives and diplomatic engagement to manage its neighbors individually. However, with these nations now aligning under a coordinated air defense strategy, China faces a collective challenge. The U.S. is reaffirming its leadership in the Pacific. By organizing and supporting these joint exercises, the U.S. is reinforcing its role as the primary security provider in the region. Increased risk of accidental conflict. With more military aircraft in the skies, the likelihood of close encounters and potential miscalculations grows. Even a small incident, such as an unintended collision or a misinterpreted radar lock, could escalate into a major diplomatic crisis. Will China seek diplomatic solutions to de-escalate tensions, or will it double down on military expansion? Some experts believe that while China is undoubtedly frustrated, it may also recognize the need for dialogue. However, others argue that Beijing's leadership, driven by nationalism and territorial ambitions, will not easily back down. As we look ahead, several scenarios are possible. China might attempt to form its own counter-coalition. Strengthening ties with Russia or other like-minded nations could be an option for Beijing to counterbalance U.S. influence. Increased diplomatic engagement. While tensions are high, economic interdependence between China and its neighbors may push all parties toward negotiations. A new arms race. If mistrust continues to grow, the region could see further military buildup, leading to even more frequent confrontations. The rise of a united air power front in the Asia-Pacific is a major development, reshaping regional security. China, once confident in its ability to dominate the region, is now faced with a reality it did not anticipate. With the U.S. strengthening ties with Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, and Australia, the Pacific skies are more contested than ever. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. China's assumption that it could dictate the rules of the game has been severely challenged. How Beijing chooses to respond will determine whether the region moves toward increased cooperation or heightened conflict. What do you think? Will China attempt to de-escalate, or will it push back harder? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this analysis, be sure to subscribe to Polytiks for more in-depth coverage of global affairs, geopolitics, and political power struggles. Hit the like button, share this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay informed.